Today, down in the comments, I want to know, what is your favorite horror movie set in the American South? That's right, any horror movie that gets spooky south of the Mason-Dixon line, I want to know about it. Hello everyone, I'm Adam Caesar, this is Project Black T-Shirt, and today we're going to be talking about Arrow Video's new release of the Little Scene 1977 film, Scalpel. But before we talk about this, a quick disclaimer. I know we talked about an Arrow release last week, and I try not to do the same thing over and over again, but this is a very different kind of movie, and this week I'm prepping as we speak to run off to Providence, Rhode Island to go attend StokerCon, where I'm doing a reading and a panel and all this different stuff. So I'm a little bit in flux, and I watched this movie last night, so I really wanted to get a quick video up and talk about something. But next week, if you're a little bit like, okay, enough with the Blu-rays, next week we are going to be talking books, finally, books again, and I'll have book recommendations at the end of the show like I always do for you. Very quickly, the plot of Scalpel is as convoluted and crazy as you'd hope a movie with this gorgeous new cover would be. Robert Lansing plays a famed plastic surgeon whose estranged father died. Him and his brother get cut out of the will entirely, but Robert Lansing's daughter inherits everything. She disappears for a little while under mysterious circumstances, and Robert Lansing, as a plastic surgeon, cooks up a plan to take a go-go dancer who's had her face mutilated in an attack and make her resemble his daughter. She's got the same eye color, she's about the same height. Make her resemble his daughter and then cash in on that inheritance. Things get more and more twisted and backstabby and murderous from there, and you can imagine that the daughter does come back, and we've got a little twin double trouble going on. With the great Judith Chapman playing dual roles here. She plays Jane, as in Jane Doe, and she plays his daughter Heather. Now what Arrow's doing with this release that I'm not 100% sure is the best marketing idea is they are touting Scalpel as from the director of Blood Rage. Director John Grismer only made 2 films. He made Blood Rage and he made Scalpel, and he made Scalpel 10 years before Blood Rage, and Scalpel was kind of a calling card that got him the kind of work for hire job on Blood Rage. And these 2 movies really couldn't be any more different. I love Blood Rage. It is goofy, wacky, nihilistic, mean, with a slasher movie with great effects and a interesting concept where, again, we have twins, but it is very, very different. It has very odd dialogue and very odd acting choices, very odd deliveries, very non-traditional film. Scalpel, on the other hand, is a better film, you know, from a acting, directing, cinematography, editing standpoint. It is a better film in almost every regard than Blood Rage. It is also a much more understated film, so much so that it is barely qualifies as a horror movie, even though it has a ton of murders in it. Our plastic surgeon protagonist here kind of knocks people off with reckless abandon, but the murders are very, very understated and very much not gory. They are to say the least, they are the opposite of the murders in Blood Rage. Not the movie you're looking for if you're looking for Blood Rage 2. If you're looking for something that is from the same director, it is technically from the same director, but Scalpel is a much more understated movie. And as you can kind of guess from me relaying the plot, it is a plot-heavy film. It is filled with twists and turns and a couple very memorable fake-outs where you think one thing is happening and the opposite is actually happening. It's full of these kind of fun misdirections. But overall, with its reconstructive surgery subplots and its overall Southern Gothic charm, it's set in a big house in Georgia. It's this gorgeous mansion, and it's got some really great cinematography, some really great kind of Southern charm setting to it. There's a scene at a New Orleans style jazz funeral. There's all these kind of Southern touches that make Scalpel feel like a kind of condensed As the World Turns or Days of Our Lives, like one of those season-long soap opera-ish plots squeezed down into 90 minutes and given a very kind of R-rated wash to the whole proceedings, because even though it's 1977, but they talk about on the special features how this movie was a little bit of a hard sell at the time. It is kind of lurid, even though what you see on screen is pretty tame. It's a really nicely photographed movie. It's the first movie from Edward Lockman, who he was the cinematographer. did The Virgin Suicides, Aaron Brockovich, a lot of like really nice looking movies, and you can kind of see the beginnings of that here in Scalpel. It's not your normal, looks like a TV movie, Zanuck and Brown type horror potboiler. This is not that. This is a good looking movie with, as I said, great locations, good cinematography, good acting, especially Robert Lansing and Judith Chapman. They're playing it up a bit. They're a little bit heightened, and it really works in this story and context. Arrow really should be commended for bringing out a movie like this and giving it their kind of normal deluxe treatment, because you not only have 3 15 to 20 minute extras, talking with the director, talking with the cinematographer, talking with Judith Chapman, really nice interviews, little fun anecdotal snippets and stuff like that. But the movie itself has been given a complete rehaul, and Arrow, because they know that the color grading, the kind of very yellow, very murky look that the director and cinematographer wanted to go with this movie, they realized that that's not going to be every viewer's cup of tea, so they've included an alternate scan of the film where you can kind of switch back and forth between this like yellow, down-home, southern, kind of rotted out looking version of the movie, and then a pristine, nice version of the movie. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing in theory to kind of switch back and forth, but I chose the director approved version and just watched that all the way through, and then kind of spot check the rest of the movie in the other way. But a movie like this, I'm proud to have on my shelf. It's not going to be for everyone, so like I said, if you're a huge Blood Rage fan and you do want to see what the director was up to 10 years before Blood Rage, it may be interesting for you, but if you're not down with this kind of twisty, Hitchcockian, thriller, soap opera-ish, torrid romance type film, you're probably not going to love it. But if you want a horror movie that's pretty subtle with its horror, but pretty ballsy with almost everything else, Scalpel's probably for you. This week for book recommendations, since I am under a little bit of a time crunch, and because I want to highlight a few books that we've talked about before, I've talked about in my past videos. I've done like almost 60 videos now. Each one of them comes with a book recommendation, and sometimes those videos don't perform super well. Sometimes people don't stick around to the end to see the book recommendations. So I wanted to talk about 3 Southern Gothic movies that you may have missed me talk about before. They are Beneath by Christy DeMeester, The Choir of Ill Children by Tom Pickrilli, and The Amulet by Michael McDowell. If you like Scalpel and you watch it and you're like, oh, I have a hankering for more Southern Gothic flair and I want to read a book like that, you can't go wrong with these 3 books. They're great. I also want to mention that my own novel, Video Night, now has an audiobook. This is narrated by Matt Godfrey. He does an incredible job. You can click over to Audible or Amazon or iTunes or wherever you get your audiobooks. Check out the little sample. He does a really, really great job. This was my first book that came out, so I was writing it like almost 10 years ago. So it was a real joy to go back through it, listen to his performance, and be like, oh wow, good job, Adam from 10 years ago. This is an okay book. I really appreciate you picking it up. I really appreciate you checking it out, as with all my stuff. If you like this video, please hit like. If you really like this video, please subscribe. If you want to find out more about the stuff we talked about, Scalpel and Blood Rage and all that other stuff, I've got links down in the description. If you want to find out more about me as a writer, there's a link down there to my website. It'll get you on the mailing list, get you a free ebook sampler, all that good stuff. I'm Adam Caesar. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.